Are you a business owner that could use just one more customer? Those empty tables, vacant appointments, idle employees, and expired merchandise are missed opportunities. What if there were a community that connects you to high-value and motivated customers, giving you a competitive edge in the marketplace and increasing your revenue? Introducing Partners One. You keep doing what you do best, taking care of your customers, and we'll do what we do best, sending you new customers to take care of. Call us today to find out how Partners One can work for your business.
Welcome to the Rockin' Right Show, starring Hurricane Betsy Barnes and Dr. K. Solar. Two busy blondes with their fingers on the pulse of all things Louisiana. Events, health, leisure, entertainment, and more. It's the Rockin' Right Show. And now, here's Betsy and Kay.
And if you've been watching, you know that we love Louisiana, and we love people that love Louisiana, and we love to promote the people and the businesses and all the fun things to do in Louisiana. And so we're going to be sharing a few of those things with you tonight, some people you haven't met, maybe one that you have, but we're going to share everything that we love about Louisiana this week and every week. So
Absolutely. We want to keep you having fun and being healthy at the same time. And so in our medical segment, we're going to be talking with Dr. Aldo Russo and Dr. Kayla Slyman, who are both gastroenterologists at Ochsner Medical Group in Baton Rouge. And, you know, a lot of people forgot to do their screenings. Well, they didn't forget to. They couldn't actually go in at all. Right. And then now people are just kind of getting back into thinking about, what do I need to get done? And we're going to talk a little bit about that and maybe some things that you can do to lower your risk of colon cancer and some other GI issues. But and then talking about our gastrointestinal tract and some good yummy food. We're going to be having one of our friends, Jessica Burris with City Port Catering, because you know it's about time for weddings. I think we're going to be talking about that a little bit.
Getting your tailgate
going on, and she's going to talk about some things that they got coming up, and you might want to check out their food options.
Look, if City Pork's doing it, you know it's going to be good. I mean, that's such a no-brainer. And we actually did order some things for Thanksgiving and Christmas and enjoyed cooking
because as Betsy's told you forever, I don't cook.
Yes, she doesn't make anything. She makes reservations. So we're really excited because we're also going to be talking about a bridal show that is going to raise money for a VFW hall in Gonzales, Louisiana. We are also going to be talking about beautiful photography, and that is a way that people all over the country and all over the world can actually see our beloved Louisiana. And so we have Lane LeFort with us. He is a phenomenal Louisiana outdoor photographer. Thank you so much for coming to be with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
So it is breathtaking. We're going to show you some of his work in just a second. It is breathtaking, and you feel like you can step into some of your portraits.
I like people to see what I get to see, and sometimes even if I don't get the shot, I was fortunate enough to see what we have, and it's just nice to be out there.
Sure. Well, in case you've not heard of Lane LeFort, you need to go find him on Facebook or lanelefort.com and see his work. I actually met Lane at a Smithsonian opening of the Waterways exhibit that was at the Jean Lafitte Natural Preserve. I hope I said that right. The Preserve Center that was in Thibodaux. And honestly, it was just extraordinary, the work that you've done. And so you really prefer to kind of be alone with a camera in the swamp or in a plane or, so we talked about that's your natural habitat. That's where you're comfortable.
That's where I grew up in.
That's where you grew up in. Where'd you grow up?
West Wego.
Yeah.
I've lived there all my life, and even as a small child, I remember leave the house and just go play in the woods or the swamps, and it was just a natural place to be.
And that isn't what you started doing initially. You didn't start out as a photographer.
No, like everybody on the West Bank at the time, Avondale Shipyard was the big company, and everybody was pretty much expected to graduate high school and then go work at Avondale, which I did for several years. And then in the 80s, when the oil crashed, then I was kind of turned loose on the world, and I had to figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I just kind of backed into photography. And I've been doing it for over 30 plus years, almost 40 years now. and it's always been. I've enjoyed all the different types of photography I was able to do.
So tell us some of the people that you've done photography for. Who've hired you to do the outdoor?
I used to work. Well, I started off in newspaper advertising, marketing, things like that, with the local newspapers, and I freelanced for the Times-Picayune for about 17 years. And then I left there. I worked for the Corps of Engineers as their staff photographer. And I started about 4 years before Katrina hit, and I stayed for about a year after Katrina. And I was documenting everything that was happening during that period. And I decided there was better things to photograph than hurricane damage and just everything. It was a unique time, and it was interesting, and really got to see and do a lot of things. But it was depressing being from this area and knowing what it looked like before and what the people had to put up with. So after about a year of that, I decided to just go back to freelancing for myself.
Sure. Well, it would be traumatic to see all the damage day after day after day and documenting that. So for that period of time, that was difficult but necessary. We needed a record of that to be able to get support from the federal and state government, I'm guessing.
Well, and when I'd go out and photograph, I had to think about who needed the pictures for what. And it was everything from like the public relations department, which is kind of ridiculous, but they had a public relations department. But I also would think what an engineer would look at, see why this happened, if there was a breach or some kind of problem. I thought he might want to see it after, and he could maybe figure out how to prevent it for next time.
Yeah.
So after 30 years, you have quite a catalog, and you might see things that have changed over the course of that time.
Things have changed and all, and the biggest change has been photography itself. Started like most people, black and white, with newspapers, printing it, everything yourself, developing it. And I haven't done that in quite a few years, but it's now when you want to improve on an image, you buy a new camera with higher resolution or somewhere. Before you just improved on the film.
Yeah, and then you can change those filters and do all that kind of stuff digitally.
A lot of stuff. I do some things, some images, but I usually try to capture. I used to joke, I might be getting older, but I'm not as old as nature. Nature's been doing a really good job for a long time.
I love that statement. Well, and a lot of your photos are nature. And before we would run out of time, I definitely want to show folks, and I want you to explain them because some of our folks are listening on radio. So when we see the image, if you want to roll some of the photographs of Lane's, just give us a little description of what we're seeing here for the folks that are listening on radio.
I was in my kayak. That's in Lake Martin. And the interesting thing about shooting nature is that I don't go out looking for anything particular usually. I just paddle around because we have so much of an abundance of wildlife and scenics. I don't have to do much. And usually a bird will let you take his picture because you can't, there's so much, they can see and hear everything much better than we can. So they know I'm there before, and this is just a summer storm coming in, and the birds have to tolerate everything. This is a nesting area, and even though we can leave or put a raincoat on, they're out there and they're just hanging in a tree, and it's a rough life. That's Lake Martin again. I try to capture environmental portraits instead of just a tight snapshot. Tight snapshots, I do that once in a while, but it's just better to try to, coming from a newspaper background, you try to get as much information into one image to express what you were trying to tell people.
Right.
That's uptown New Orleans. And that one was tweaked. You can do adjustments and everything to bring out the details and color. That's a foggy day on Bucktown in New Orleans.
Wow, so that's beautiful. Totally different than the others.
I try to capture fog whenever possible.
There's the most famous place in America to get your photo taken.
Early morning, everybody was just setting up. It was still clean, and everything was just perfect for that.
In Jackson Square, beautiful. And you did it from the river point of view. As if you're going down the river and looking in.
And that's just our culture before it disappears, because it's hard to make a living doing that.
Seafood industry and the boats.
So you got to be real. It's in your blood and your culture to do that.
That's right.
And back to Jackson Square, St. Louis Cathedral. It's just been photographed so many times and all, and it just can't help it. That's a
beautiful perspective.
I love the cemeteries, and something as simple as this, I can't see. I think that one has beads around its neck. Why somebody put that there? But it adds so much to an image, when you put a little detail into it. So I try to capture something a little more, like I said, than a snapshot. This was after a little rain, so birds have to keep themselves in such good shape or they don't survive.
Yeah.
So that's a blue heron?
No, that's a brown pelican.
Brown pelican.
And another foggy morning in New Orleans, the red streetcar on the riverfront.
Yeah. That's, those are some amazing photos, and definitely folks should go to your website, lanelefort.com, and see those images. And is there anywhere else they should look for that? 'Cause, the images practically look like paintings. I mean, they just are coming out at you.
Thank you. I do, participate in art festivals and art markets, like one here in Baton Rouge on first Saturday of every month. It's by the farmers market.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all that has been going on for the last year and a half, I haven't participated.
There hasn't been
in
that
any,
many
but
of them.
They're
Yes.
starting to make a comeback and all. I'm doing one in Houston in October, but October's going to be crazy because everybody's trying to squeeze in 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag.
And your photos in the Smithsonian exhibit for the Waterways exhibit is going to be in Grand Isle. It's actually in Grand
they're
Isle
in
at
Grand
the
Isle
community
right now.
center. And so people can go see your work in Grand Isle. And then that's a moving exhibit.
Yeah, I don't know how much farther it's going to be going, but it's part of Quipper, and I forgot what's an acronym for. But it's got Smithsonian and they got the Quipper thing. They wanted a local flavor to go with this, Smithsonian.
To document the waterways and our beautiful culture and state.
Why are we crazy enough to stay here?
That's right. Why are we crazy enough to stay here? Well, there's so many reasons. Not enough to make you leave. Well, Lance, I really do appreciate Lane. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Lane. I really do appreciate you being here because you do have such beautiful work, and we're going to share those photos on our Facebook and send people your way. And so, if you want to look at Lane LeFort's work, you need to go to Lane LeFort. That's LEFORT.com and be able to see his work. And so, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're looking forward to sharing your work. And we're going to be right back talking with Evan Timothy and Sarah Vinson about the VFW Bridal Show happening August 6th in Gonzales. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Rock It Right. And then we're going to talk about keeping your gut healthy.